Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of tension, worry, or stress to leave your body in your outward breath. Breathing in that feeling of relaxation and exhaling tension. Maybe you can feel that tension in your neck or your shoulders, around your eyes, your jaw. But just imagine that as you breathe that resourceful feeling of relaxation in, you're able to relax and let go, allowing that tension to leave your body in your outward breath. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine ancient Rome. Perhaps you can imagine the magnificent buildings. I don't want you to see them as ruins. I want you to see ancient Rome as it was at the peak of the empire. Palaces, statues, a thriving society, a bustling markets, politicians, businesses, entertainment, a thriving society. And I want you to imagine that there you are in ancient Rome. And I want you to imagine somewhere in Rome are one of the ancient Roman bathhouses filled with hot mineral water, springs. And I want you to get a sense that the minerals in the water are healing. I want you to imagine that there you are in a private Roman bathhouse all by yourself, bathing in the water, getting a sense that the water and the warmth of the water is healing you. Imagine that there are so many salts and minerals that you can imagine almost like you're floating on the surface. Your body's just drifting to the top of the water. It's almost like lying on a lie-low. You can imagine just resting almost on the surface of the warm water, accepting that the warmth of the water and those minerals are healing your skin, healing your body, permeating your muscles to release all the tension, feeling like any stress, anxiety, and worries are just melting away. That's right. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and with each descending number, you will imagine all the tension in your body, leaving your body, melting away, leaving you with the sensation of feeling deeply relaxed. 5, just any tension in your face, neck, shoulders. 4, down your arms to the tips of your fingers. 3, your torso, internal organs like lungs, heart, stomach, gut, just completely releasing the tension. That's it. 2, down into your legs. And I want you to imagine as we hit 1 that you're going to imagine with your eyes closed, just lying there, floating on the mineral water in a Roman bathhouse, drifting off into a deep, trance-like sleep. We are able to activate a part of your imagination that is eager for change. I want you to get a sense that anxiety is there to protect, to keep you safe, but only when it's doing its job well. I want you to get a sense that not enough anxiety is reckless, meaning that you could do things that cause harm to yourself. And too much anxiety is hypervigilance, being smothered, confined. And I want you to get a sense that there is an optimal point of anxiety. The equivalent of a biting point in a car. Not enough acceleration means the car won't move, and too much means it will stall. I want you to get a sense that in the same way there is a biting point in a manual car, there is a optimal point of anxiety in your life. But in the same way, when you learn to drive, you had to find out what the optimal point is, to find the biting point before you put the brake down and went into gear. And sometimes there wasn't enough gas. And sometimes there was too much, and the car just jolted before it stalled. So sometimes you had to have too much and too little before you picked up on the optimal balance. You knew what to pay attention to, feeling the car just move slightly forward, hearing the sound of the engine at the point where the clutch and the accelerator were at the optimal level. And I want you to get a sense that the same is true of anxiety. The optimal level of anxiety encourages you to take risks, but without being reckless. Encourages you to venture out of your comfort zone, but not to do things that could risk your life and to cause permanent pain or unnecessary risks. But when it comes to anxiety, the only way to find the biting point is to go further than you normally would. And you'll be surprised at just how much is possible. As you entertain the idea that the biggest limitation to any individual is not their competency, but their attitude to risk. How many people exist in the world that could be in a higher paying job, but they never apply for it? Could be running a business, but they never start it. Could have millions in assets, but they never invested. The key limitation is not intelligence, is not competency. What holds most people back is the anxiety that comes from a false evaluation, a belief that it's too risky, a belief that they can't handle it. And I wonder what would happen if within your life you chose to test rather than guess. To go outside the comfort zone until you find legitimate barriers that stop you, rather than allowing your anxiety to be the fence, the barrier, the brick wall that stops you. Why don't you allow real life to let you know the limit of your capability? And wouldn't it be interesting to find that that border is so much further away than you currently perceive? There's a powerful idea, which is, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? I want you to get a sense that the world is a place full of opportunity. opportunity for connections, friendships, relationships, new experiences, new ways of thinking and doing and being. And yet most people live a Groundhog Day where every day is very similar to the last, caught in a loop without realizing they can escape that day whenever they choose. I want you to imagine there in Rome, there's a person called Marcus Aurelius. I want you to imagine that just in your mind you are no longer in the bathhouse, but you're seeing him in a square, there in the center of Rome, talking to a crowd of people. And I want you to hear these words coming from this wise, intelligent man, where he says, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." And I want you to think about those words and wonder, perhaps anxiety is your current impediment to action. That perhaps anxiety is what stands in the way. As you listen to those words, an idea pops into your mind that if anxiety is what stands in the way, then perhaps anxiety becomes the way. I want you to think of one thing in your life you would like to do, and yet anxiety is the thing stopping you. And I want you to imagine observing yourself starting to do that thing, and to just hold the thought of doing the thing. And maybe some anxiety comes up, and just rest with it. Hold it. Many people try and run away from anxiety, and anxiety will chase them. But there's a principle known as the law of reverse effect. That when you try and experience the anxiety becomes elusive. When you no longer fear the anxiety starts to melt away. Because anxiety is like a shadow, and action is like the light. And shadows do not exist in places full of light. And your choice to do that thing means that the anxiety disappears. Just observe yourself with an open mind, looking resourceful, looking confident, doing that thing that anxiety had stopped you from doing, with the attitude of, "Come on, anxiety, stop me. Stop me from doing this thing if you can." I want you to see yourself like a Roman gladiator, not fearing the arena, but embracing the arena. I want you to imagine that you see yourself marching forward, going forward in spite of anxiety, with the attitude of, Is this all you have? I'm ready for you. And the more resourceful you can be in the face of anxiety, the more elusive anxiety becomes. Because what is courage if it isn't to take action in the face of fear and anxiety? See a courageous version of you doing that thing. And when you've seen that version of you doing that thing that anxiety previously had prevented you from doing, let me know by nodding your head. Rewind it and then step into that version of you so you're now seeing whatever it was through your own eyes, and locate where you feel courage inside you. As you say to yourself, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. With this idea that if you can do this thing, you can do anything like this thing. Each one of these things that anxiety has prevented becomes a battle. And what if you got used to winning battle after battle? Very soon you would feel invincible. You would have such courage and confidence that anything that creates a feeling of anxiety creates a desire to face that anxiety. Feel that courage and then imagine doing the thing that previously anxiety had stopped you, but do it in a resourceful, confident, courageous way, feeling how good it feels to do that thing, accepting that if anxiety is what stands in the way, then that is the way. And once you've imagined doing this thing, let me know by nodding your head. And notice all those good feelings you feel from having imagined doing this thing. The dopamine, that sense of accomplishment, that connection that you have with yourself, the feel-good feelings of serotonin. I want you to get a sense that you will create an empowering, positive addiction to facing your anxieties in a courageous, resourceful way. And in doing so, you will develop a sense of sensible invincibility, never reckless, a cautious optimism that you can believe in yourself and do the things that previously you thought you couldn't. And create a belief system that if I can do one thing that I previously thought I couldn't do, then what else can I also do that I think I can't? And before long, all of these barriers become a house of cards that just collapse to the ground. I want you to imagine returning to that version of you that is relaxing in the hot water of a Roman bathhouse, leaving the bathhouse, feeling you've unlocked courage, self-belief, and a desire to face your fears, because the fears are your impediment to action. And if you feel confident, courageous, and a desire to follow the path that previously has blocked you, let me know by nodding your head. Take that feeling of courage, optimism, self-belief, and determination, and then return to the present, listening to my voice firmly in the moment right now. All parts, past, present, and future, returning to this moment right now. As you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose, just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that all parts fully in the present right now, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.